Hey guys, this is my review for the movie Project Hail Mary. It just came out and I wanted to talk about it. Oh, also, like and subscribe. You're supposed to say that at the start of all YouTube videos, so I'm getting it out of the way now. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, do a backflip, comment, do a downvote, do an upvote, do a share, do a copy and paste into a notes app. I don't care. Just do something with this video, please. Anyways, back to the movie. Right off the rip, I fucking loved this movie. This was on my most hyped movies of 2026 list, and it met my hype and honestly, it exceeded it. I will admit I have been a fan of the source material for a very long time, and I think they did a really good job adapting it for this movie. And honestly, if they did a good job, I would have liked the movie no matter what, but thankfully, this movie was directed by two true visionaries, Phil Lord and Chris Miller. They have never made any movies like this up until now. You might know them from making the awesome 21 and 22 Jump Street films.
My name is Jeff.
They also were the masterminds behind the Spider-Verse films, as well as directing the Lego Movie and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, which I think are both really awesome films. And yeah, the track record has always been taking really shitty ideas and turning them into awesome movies. And I've always wanted to see them tackle an idea that was already good from the start and see what they do with that. And surprise, surprise, they fucking killed it with this movie. I absolutely adored it on a technical presentational level, on a performance level, on a sound design level. Pretty much every aspect of it is up to snuff with the amount of money this movie cost, which is rare to see in blockbusters these days. Now for those who don't know about Project Hail Mary, first off, you should just watch the movie. This is me recommending it to you. I genuinely think your grandma could like it, a 5-year-old could like it. This is a rare movie that appeals to everybody, and it's not even trying to do so. It's not trying to be a 4-quadrant movie. It just is a universal story of friendship. But it is about a guy named Ryland Grace, which does sound a lot like Ryan Gosling, being sent on what is basically a suicide mission to save the sun. And I know that sounds like Danny Boyle's Sunshine, which is also one of my favorite movies, but it's way different than that. Definitely a lot more wholesome.
So, I met an alien. He's kind of growing on me. At least he's not growing in me, you know, which was a concern for a little while.
And he doesn't have a clue as to why he's on the mission, and as he progresses, he's also finding out events that have led to him being picked for this mission, and a lot of the movie is a one-man show. And if it was a lesser actor, I don't think it would have been nearly as good, but thankfully we got Ryan Gosling, the GOAT, to play this character, and at first I was like, oh, he's a little, he's very handsome and he's supposed to be a weird nerd, but his performance is entirely convincing enough. Also, Sandra Hüller as Eva Stratt is pretty different from the book character-wise, but her performance has a lot of layers and depth to it for her limited screen time. Same thing goes for Carl. I really liked him. I love Loiter Squad, so I'm really glad he's in a big movie now.
Has your temper ever gotten out of your control?
Has your temper ever got out of your control? Does it look like we have tempers? No, I got no temper. Now! Tell her. Tell that bitch.
Ilyukna and Yao were a little underdeveloped for the film, but it makes sense. A lot of their scenes in the book stood out to me, and I really liked their characters, so I miss a lot of the characterization we got from them. But, you can't fit all of that into a movie. But a lot of the more dramatic moments were undercut by humor. If I was to have any problem with the movie, I would say it kind of undercuts the tension and the huge stakes mission with the amount of jokes that are just firing off, which is unsurprising because it's a Lord and Miller movie. Their joke per second rate is just fucking crazy. It's like 200 jokes a second. It's kind of nutty. I've seen the movie twice and I noticed a lot of stuff that I didn't notice the first time around, and I'm sure if I watch it again, I will notice even more. Other aspects of the movie I really appreciated were the technical side of it. They've really proven themselves to be visionaries, and I already knew that since the Lego Movie came out, but they needed this type of huge, technically demanding blockbuster to show their skills. And the set of the Hail Mary is so detailed and impressive. It's just the way the sets are built, there's so much character in it. And a lot of the effects are also very seamless, beautiful. I think that has to do with them prioritizing practical effects and trying to do innovative ways to visualize the story, as opposed to just doing the tried and true effects methods. Like the astrophage being shot with infrared and it actually being physically on set is so much cooler than just doing a CGI pink cloud, which would probably just look worse. And of course, I can't not mention Rocky. What an awesome fucking character. I'm so happy they did a puppet for a lot of it. It feels completely real, and I think it being a puppet also helps the CGI be better just because they have an actual reference for lighting and for movement, so it just makes it better. It's the same deal with Baby Yoda. I think Baby Yoda always looks very good, even when he's doing stupid flips, and it's because they have have the puppet to reference off of. But yeah, Rocky feels incredibly real. You totally believe his character and also just fall in love with the guy. He is so nice, sweet, cute. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm a consumer. I want a baby Rocky plush, please. But also, I think a lot of Rocky's lovability has to do with the genius of the script of the film, which was written by the awesome Drew Goddard, but also the genius of Andy Weir, who wrote the book it's based off of. Also, Greg Fraser, shout out, bro. He's the cinematographer. Like the rest of his career, the movie is just gorgeous. He is the sci-fi guy now. And it sucks that he's just stuck making these 4 Beatles movies. But like, dude, the Planet Adrian, the Hail Mary, even all the office spaces look not only exactly like how I imagined them looking while I was reading the book, but also just very visually pleasing movie. I was also lucky enough to have seen the movie in IMAX, and I mean like an actual IMAX theater. It's one of the only times I've ever seen a movie in a real IMAX theater with the full 4:3 frame. And holy shit, my mind was blown. My pants were shat. My nut was busted. It shook me. It was so cool. There's a lot of really clever editing choices that improve the flow of the movie. There's a lot of good transitions between the flashbacks and present day, and a lot of just really smart cutting choices. It's really hard to say stuff about editing without giving specific examples or showing stuff, and there's not a lot of footage of the movie. But I think the pacing of the movie is mostly really, really good, and it has to do with editing. I think Phil Lord and Chris Miller are really good at cutting their films. I will say the pacing does suffer from one point of the film. It's towards the end, the flashbacks. I think they should have done them slightly differently, as in just place the flashback in a different point in the story, because we are way past the low point of the film and we're still getting flashbacks to how we ended up on the mission. And I think there's a point in the film where it naturally would have concluded a little better, and instead it's like they're still doing flashbacks. The movie's almost over. Chill. So yeah, just move some of them a little early. That's all I would really say as a criticism. It's a really micro issue that doesn't affect what I think most of the movie is for me, which is awesome. As for changes from the book, most of them I'm completely fine with, because books just have a lot of detail that would be unnecessary for a film. One of the things that really stuck with me from reading the book was the desperation on Earth as they were getting ready for this mission. Even though you know he ends up on the mission, there's still so much tension because you're finding out how Earth is affected by the astrophase already, and a lot of these really desperate moves that they took. One of them being them nuking the polar ice caps, basically speeding up global warming so that when the astrophase starts eating the sun and cooling off Earth, it'll sort of regulate its temperature for a tiny bit long, but it's still destroying the ecosystem. And they make a point to show how destructive what they're doing is, but how it's the only plan that they have to save Earth. In the movie, it kind of seems like they're on top of things the entire time, except for one point, and you kind of just feel like it's going to fix everything, and you don't really get the desperate aspect of it. I also think the movie would have benefited from the added explanations that were in the final flashback. I think the way it is now in the film is not as impactful as it could be for it to be worth flashing back to and kind of killing the pacing of the last act of the movie. I think Ryland being forced is a really good twist, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot more reasoning for it in the book. There's a long explanation that explains why there's such few options to go on this mission, and it's because the stuff that they use to keep you comatose is really volatile, and there's a specific gene that makes you more resistant to the comatose drugs so that it won't kill you. And Ryland just happens to be one of those people who has the resistant gene because they tested his blood. That was what really sold me as to why he was picked for the mission and what made it believable that, a school teacher would end up in space. A lot of the people that hadn't read the book didn't really question why he was being sent on the mission at that point. So I guess it doesn't affect it too much, but I think it's just a detail that makes it feel a little more understandable as to why he was being forced. Also, I wish they would explain that the thing that they inject him with that knocks him out and they send him on the mission also is what gave him the memory loss in the first place. It was purposeful so that as he was on the mission, he would recollect things in a specific manner that would be helpful to the mission and not make him really pissed off that he was forced onto it. It adds just like a layer of, ooh, this is kind of morally wrong, but also feels entirely necessary for humanity's survival. That also really stood out for me in the book. It gave me chills, and I was kind of sad it wasn't in the movie. I also just think it helps justify the flashbacks where a lot of people are like, why is there so many flashbacks in the movie? I also think the ending is just a little rushed. I know it's crazy to say because this movie's 2.5 hours long. I kind of hope they make an extended cut. The same way the Lord of the Rings extended cuts were like for the fans, but they don't really have great pacing. I think an extended cut of this would be really cool They did that for Spider-Verse, so I think what would stop them from doing it with this? Another change that I'm not entirely certain about is them showing Eva on Earth at the end and showing definitively that the Talmiba worked. I liked how vague it was at the end of the book. I like that there's a sort of inclination that Earth survived because they see it through the telescope, but I kind of wish they kept it just as that, because I thought that scene was a little corny. I really loved the shot of the sun and the astrophage disappearing. It's really good visual storytelling. I like that instead of knowing for sure, it's just hope that's keeping them alive, because I think it has to do with a lot of the themes of the story. I love these characters so much. I love Rylan and Rocky, and I want them to overcome more problems together and see their friendship grow, because they're just so likable, and I think this universe has a lot of potential for stories, so who the F knows? Before I finish up, last thing I want to compliment is Daniel Pemberton did a very good job with the score. A lot of his soundtracks are very innovative and cool sounding, and the beats made me actually like nod my head up and down in the theater like I was vibing to the music. It's really rare that a song without any lyrics is really catchy, but the freaking Centrifuge song, which is playing right now, is so catchy. Daniel Pemberton, Phil Lord, and Chris Miller, they're all geniuses in my eyes, so if anyone could do a good job with this, it would be them. I don't think the music was perfect, neither the movie. I think a lot of the music towards the latter half was a little corny, maybe a little manipulative. It also made me think the movie was going to end several times, and even though I'd read the book, I was like, this should not be the ending, but the music feels very climactic in like a movie ending sense, like when he's saying goodbye to him in the tunnel. It didn't bother me entirely because I was expecting more story, but I feel like a lot of the average movie viewers, they would just be waiting for it to end at a certain point. And it feels like I am shitting all over this movie, but I gotta say, when a movie is this good, it's very easy to pinpoint the little minute issues you have. You gotta understand, I think this movie is masterful. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. So yeah, that's my really quick off-the-cuff review for Project Hail Mary. Tell me what you thought of the movie in the comments. Please like, please subscribe, please give me a thumbs up, and please have a good day. Bye-bye.